released the fastest list of brands growing in resale. But are these brands really worth your time? Some of these so-called rising stars barely sell for $20 on eBay, while others are becoming solid flips. So today, we're digging into the data to find out what's hype and what's actually hot. Stick around and we'll cover all 20 rising stars here. Well, hey friends, it's Lee from Listing to Freedom and the Empowered Reseller, and I help people just like you turn thrifted finds into massive profit online. Now, every year, ThredUp analyzes over 60,000 brands in their marketplace and ranks the rising stars. The brands with the biggest year-over-year growth by both volume and sell-through rate. But this does not always mean that these brands are great items to flip. And some, the profit is just not there from a business standpoint. So today we're gonna look at all 20 of ThredUp's rising star brands. And I'll show you the actual sell-through rates and average sale prices over on eBay just so we can see how they compare to see which ones are actually worth picking up and which ones you should leave behind. And you're gonna wanna make sure to stick around for number 20 because it has an average sale price of $44 and a sell-through rate of over 22%. Let's get started. All right, so coming in at number 1 is the brand The Limited. This has seen the biggest year-over-year increase in both volume and sell-through rate, according to ThredUp's Resale Report. We're gonna be checking out those numbers over on eBay. Now, if you're interested in looking at that report for yourself, which I highly recommend, super interesting, that will be linked in the description below this video. Now, over on eBay, I am gonna be using their built-in research tool that gives the average sale price as well as the sell-through rate. Now, with this brand, The Limited, it's a little bit tricky here because there's other items that are coming up in the search results. For example, there's a Hooters shirt, there's a Patagonia shirt, we've got a Ralph Lauren. So without filtering down into a further clothing category, I can't limit results based off of just brand. So we're gonna have to look at these a little bit separately. I don't have time to go through every single category, but to get an overall accurate picture of the sell-through rate and average sale price for this brand, we would actually need to do what is called a weighted average. That's the level of research that went into the big money brands complete library, by the way, because you really have to know what it is that you're doing with the data. Now, I have this now filtered down to only women's tops. If I were to scroll through the listings that are coming up here, you're seeing all different brands that are actually in here. But at this point, now that we're drilled further down into a specific category in women's clothes, for our example, women's tops, I'm gonna go ahead and put in pre-owned condition. I can now use the more filters over on the right to limit it based off of brands. This option is not available when you're looking at broader categories. So I can come into here where it says brand and then click here where it says The Limited and hit apply. That's going to update our numbers. So you can see that the average sold price drastically dropped along with the sell-through rate. It's showing an average sold price, and this is over the last 90 days, an average sale price of just $12, a sell-through rate of around 6%. As we scroll through these sold listings, you're seeing that all of them are coming back as the brand Limited since we put that in as our filter. And these sold prices are not very good at all. We've got one here that went for $26. I'm gonna go ahead and zoom in on this one as much as I can, but you will notice with this one that it is vintage. They've also used some keywords in here like Y2K as well as fairy. Those type of style-based keywords are going to help you get more money for these lower value brands. But as I'm scrolling through here, you're seeing $8.99, $4.99, $15.99. Most of these prices are not worth flipping. We got another one here that went for $30, another vintage item. With this one, it's a baby doll cami, lace trim, stretchy tank top. Y2K, aesthetic keyword there, whimsy goth, aesthetic keyword, fairy, grunge. $30 for that one. And that's going to be a lot of the difference between the items that are selling for $5 versus $20 or $30. If you're just the average Joe, maybe you're fine with making $5. But if you're a reseller doing this as a business and going out and thrifting these items at a $5 sales price, that is probably not worth your time or your money to source an item like that. Coming in at number 2 on the list is the women's brand Sanctuary. You can see that there's about 26,000 items on eBay that have been sold in the women's category for this brand. And that is all items new as well as pre-owned. So I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of those new items here. By the way, that drops us down to around 1,000 items sold in used condition. That's bringing back an average sold price about $15.50 with a sell-through rate around 5%. Now stick with me because I know these first 2 brands have been a little bit low on their average selling price. With this one, we're seeing $7.50, $2.99, $18, $10, $9. Again, the same story as the limited, where these items are probably not worth investing in and spending all of that time that it takes to photograph, to list, to ship, to do all the customer service. Coming in at number 3 is Louis Vuitton. It's no surprise that this brand does well, especially when it comes to the average sale price. We're about $330 for items in used condition. But with this Rising Star report, it's telling us that this brand has risen year over year, enough to make ThredUp's top 20 list. I'm not going to spend too much time here because, to be honest, I have never found this brand as a reseller, never have came across it in a thrift store or garage sale. If you have and you do, more power to you. Number 4, Spanx. This brand has actually been on the list 2 years in a row. Now, an average sold price of $23, we're getting a little bit better here, but there's really some good items when you know what to look for and a sell-through rate of close to 13%. By the way, did you know that Spanx makes men's items? We've got a compression tank top here that went for $30. Here's some women's leggings that went for $30. So Spanx does make far more than just shapewear, and actually a lot of their clothing items do tend to do well, whether that's pants or jeans or men's items like what you've seen. Here's a lot of 2 compression undershirts that went for $36. Wide leg jeans here that went for $50. Another pair of jeans here that went for $42. And lots of items $20 and higher. For me, this brand definitely makes the list of brands to be on the lookout for, as well as a brand to keep your eye on for the future because growth has been solid for quite some time. Number 5, Champion. Now with this Rising Star brand list that ThredUp has put together, you're gonna notice some commonalities as we're going through these brands. And one of them that jumped out to me very quickly, you're gonna see it for yourself, is that there are a lot of activewear and sports brands on this list. That tells me that there's a bigger trend overall in the marketplace for items that are more comfy, items that can be lived in, items that can be worn on a daily basis. Across all Champion clothing items for both men and women, the average selling price is right around $27 and a sell-through rate of around 10%. And as we're going through some of these sold items from Champion, you're gonna notice a couple of things. There's gonna be items that are selling for just a few dollars, $7, $9, but there's items mixed in here that are selling for substantially more. Collaborations like this Todd Snyder collaboration that went for $34. A collaboration here, I'm not gonna attempt that one, $37. Also going to see higher prices for their vintage items. We've got a Champion reverse weave sweatshirt there that went for about $45. Another one of those Champion reverse weave sweatshirts. This one says Maryland Pharmacy on it. That one went for $65. So it definitely pays to know which items to source with this brand and which ones to stay away from. For example, t-shirt down here, that went for $3. Not worth your time. Number 6, the brand Good American. Now with this one, I'm noticing that some of the results are not coming back with the correct brand. For example, Life is Good is coming back. Minnetonka, more Life is Good. So we're gonna fix this really quick. I'll show you how to do that. And the quickest way is to put quotations around brands like this that have more than one word. This is gonna force results to come back that have Good American right next to each other. So as we look through these results now, they are all actually from the Good American brand. Without having to go through category by category, we're able to get an overall idea for the average sale price and sell-through rate for this brand. It's coming in around $23 for an average sale price and around 7.5% for that sell-through rate. Now there does appear to be a wide variation in the prices that items are selling for. Some examples here: $5 for a pair of jeans, $7 for another pair of jeans, $5.99. Probably can't hardly even source them for that amount. But then we've got one here for $35. That is a women's size 10. And then another one here that is a loose fit, also a size 10. That one went for $59. Most of these items aren't selling for over the $20 price point. There's a few mixed in here that are. One for $30, $35, $40, another here for $30. You'll definitely want to use caution when sourcing this brand. Here's one here that went for $48. This is a super wide leg flare jean. And what I'm noticing with these higher value items is that they are newer styles for the most part. And many of them are also bigger sizes. For example, a size 12. Number 7, democracy. It's not coming back with the sell-through rate for some reason, so I would need to look into that a little bit further as to why. But the average sale price with this brand is about $16. So same as with Good American, you're gonna wanna be really careful with the items that you source. There's a lot that are selling for the $15 to $20 price point, but there's also some under that, like $9.99, $6.99, $6.83, as well as some over that, like $23.99 and one for $28. Now this one is a plus size, a 20W, so those do tend to sell for a little bit money, just as an overall general rule with reselling clothes. This one definitely falls into my source with caution list. I've sold plenty of these myself. If you're able to pick them up for just $1 or $2, making $20, $25 could be worth it for you. But if you're having to pay $5 or $10 just to source these items, then that's a pretty easy pass. Coming in at number 8 is Beyond Yoga. And the sell-through rate with this one is pretty good. It's 17%, and it's coming in at $23 for the average sale price. And as we're looking through these sold prices, these are looking pretty good. $37, $30, $28, $38, $27, $20, $15, $40, $30, $25. A couple here a little bit lower at $10 and $7, but overall, this brand is doing surprisingly well, and it has a good following to have this high of a sell-through rate. 17% when it comes to clothes is really a pretty good sell-through rate. A quick word on the sell-through rate: this is going to depend on the time frame that you're looking at. So with 90 days, that is what the sell-through rate is. If you are to change this time frame, you're gonna see that sell-through rate change accordingly. So I never like to give a hard and fast number for a sell-through rate, but this one's pretty good. Number 9, Aritzia. Now this is a larger company with other clothing brands under it, like Wilfred, Bobaton, TNA. But most resellers do include the word Aritzia in their listing. And with this one, the average selling price is just over $30 with a sell-through rate of just over 10%. And we're seeing a lot of prices close to the $20 mark, some a little bit more, $18.70, $19.99. Here's one for $30. That one is a shift dress. A sweater from their Bobaton brand. This one went for $60. It is an extra small, and it is a cable knit sweater vest. And they did use some keywords with this one, like academia, modern core, and classic office. But some decent prices overall for these items. By the way, if you would love to have those style and aesthetic based keywords at your fingertips, my posters are a great way to do that. And I'll link to that somewhere on your screen. That can save you a ton of time getting listings up, as well as help you make more money on every single sale. Sliding in at number 10 is Soft Surroundings. This is one of my favorite brands because it does tend to be fairly plentiful out there. It is a brand that I see regularly. This one has a sell-through rate of 13%, average sale price of just over $20, and some pretty decent prices with these. $36 for a dress, $22 for a little blouse there, one for $10, pair of jeans here that went for about $28, $29 for a little moto jacket, a cardigan shawl for $60. With this one, I found that it's definitely based off of styles as well as sizes, with those bigger plus sizes tending to sell for more money. Got one here that is boho art to wear. This is a floral blazer jacket. That one went for $40. A good example of using those aesthetic-based keywords. Number 11, Cause, or some people might say cozy. This is a line from H&M, the full name being Collection of Style. With this one, we're gonna have to narrow down into the categories a little bit further to be able to get rid of the other brands that are coming back. We'll go ahead and take a look at this tops category that has about 13,000 total items, and that is for new as well as used condition. I'll go ahead and filter out those new items right now. And I will probably need to go ahead and put in the actual brand now that we're in that specific tops category. So more filters and then cause. Hit apply, and that brings back an average sale price of $22, a sell-through rate of 15%, which is actually pretty good. Some decent prices as we're scrolling through these results. $29 for this mixed media top. Got a little striped t-shirt here that went for $28. A lot in here for the $15 to $20 price point. If you can pick these up cheaply enough, this may be a good flip for you. Here's a short sleeve blouse that went for $35. This is a silk blend, by the way. So you do want to pay attention to the different materials as well as fabrics involved. By the way, if you're ever playing around in this research tool and see this select a different category option disappear, refresh the page and it'll come back. Number 12, rails. With this one, we're gonna have to do a little bit more work because there's lots of other items coming into the search results. A dead giveaway before I even looked through the listings is a sell-through rate of 0.3%. It's most likely higher than that for this brand, so we'll see once we get the results cleaned up. So come in here to select a different category, and we can go ahead and open up the clothing category, and we're gonna go into women's clothing since this is mainly a women's brand. And for time-saving purposes, we're gonna choose the category that has the most number of listings in it. In this case, again, tops around 1,100 listings. Hit apply, put in pre-owned, filter for brand, and that gives us an average sale price of about $22 with a sell-through rate of about 8.5%. And lots of items selling for right around the $20 price point. Some of their bigger sellers, in my experience, are their button-up shirts. $20 for a python printed button-up blouse. Another animal print button-up here for $20. Another animal print for $27. Plaid flannel shirts tend to sell for around that $20 to $25 price point as well. A few in here for closer to $30, $29, $30, $28, $29. This is a fairly solid pick in my book for most of their items. Number 13 is Liverpool, LA, or Liverpool, Los Angeles. And this is a denim brand. Average sale price is right around $17 with a sell-through rate of 13%. Now, like we've seen with a lot of these brands, the sale prices can be all over the place. I'm seeing one here for $2, another one for $8, but then we've got one for $35. That's not too bad. That's actually a pair of men's jeans of $35.30. Of lower prices mixed in here. Here's a women's blazer jacket that went for just over $30. Another jacket for $32. This pair of red jeans there that went for $30. $45 for that crop flare jean. Now, almost 1,400 women's items listed and only 100 men's items. Number 14 is another story when it comes to volume, and there's close to 50,000 sold items with this brand, and the brand is Tommy Bahama. This one for their sold items, and this is across all of the different categories of their clothing items for men, women, kids, babies. The average sale price is just under $19, a sell-through rate of close to 15%. That's not too bad given the broad range of different types of items represented here. And when you know the specific items that do better than others, you're going to be able to know which ones both sell faster as well as sell for more money. For example, a polo shirt here. This one is a double XL and it went for about $38. Another one here, this is a 3XL. This is a Haunted Mansion shirt from Disney. This one went for $165. Lots in here in that $20 to $30 price range. Several lower dollar value items mixed in here. So again, you'll want to be careful with the types of items that you source. $9, 99 cents. That was a mistake there. $8, $6.99. But even when I put in a minimum price of $50, we're still looking at around 700 items that have sold for $50 and more. Lots of them selling for over the $100 price point. The fact that this brand has seen year-over-year increase tells me it's not going away anytime soon. And it should be one that is definitely on your radar. By the way, with that Liverpool LA brand that only had a few items sold, I would not expect that that's drastically different over on ThredUp. A lot of reselling has really become one big marketplace, so I would not expect for one brand to be doing amazingly well, selling for tons of money, tons of sales happening on one platform, and nothing on another. Number 15, J. McLaughlin. On eBay, there's about 5,500 sold items within the last 90 days. And both the average sale price and the sell-through rate on this brand look pretty good. The sell-through rate is almost 15%, and average sale price of almost $26. And I'm liking a lot of the prices in here. $25 for that long sleeve top. Got a poncho here that went for $60. A pair of pants for $49. A scarf for $40. A couple of blouses in here for $30. Jacket for $60. Another scarf, $75. This is a brand that should definitely go on your BOLO list. Number 16, Adriana Papel. Not sure if I'm saying that one right, but fairly solid when it comes to this brand. Sell-through rate of 8.5%, average sold price of just over $25. You are going to see quite a bit of variation in the sale price of these items. For example, a blouse here that went for $79, a formal dress here that went for $129, hand-beaded floral Godette gown. If you don't know what Godette is, that is actually one of the keywords on my dress poster. Several in here for lower prices, $6.50, $12, $15, but their formal dresses do tend to do pretty well for the most part. One here that went for $85. And if you come across older formal dresses, especially from around the Y2K era, those can also do really well. I've seen those sell for as much as a few $100s. Some examples of those, a beaded dress that went for $355. I want you to pay attention to the keywords in these listings. Y2K, fairy, mermaid core. $200 and $250 for these dresses as well. Keywords, fairy, grunge, Y2K, whimsy goth. Coming in at number 17, Vans. Now to quickly clean up the data, I did put in Vans shoes. That's the majority of their items, but they do make other clothing items. That's just the quickest way to clean up the data and make sure that we're looking at just this brand. This was coming in with an average sold price of $21 and a sell-through rate of just over 10%. We've got a wide range of prices in what is selling. Everything from $2.95, $3.82, up to $120. This is for 3 pairs, something that you definitely want to take into account as you're doing this type of research. But overall, quite a few selling for right around $20, some for a bit more, like these that sold for $75. This is another brand that has made the list at least 2 years in a row. So that tells me the resale growth is strong. Number 18, 41 Hawthorne. This is one where the resale value is on the low side. It's coming back with an average sale price of $14.60 for items in used condition, a sell-through rate of 6%. So not horrible there, but a lot of the sale prices are low. We're talking $5.50, $9.99, $4, $9. To be honest, it's kind of hard to see just scrolling through these how the average sale price is over $14. Got a sweater here for $34 that is 100% cashmere. Another sweater, 100% cashmere for about $40. So sales like those could be what is pulling up the average selling price. eBay, if you're watching, a standard deviation would be amazing, but we at least get a distribution of listing prices. Oftentimes these ranges are far too wide to glean any real information from them, but we can quickly see here that there's a good chunk of items selling for less than $11, and the bulk of items are selling for $11 to $21, with most of those probably being towards the lower end of that. Most items are probably not going to be worth your time or monetary investment, with the exception of those cashmere sweaters. Number 19, Max Studio. This is a brand that is often found at Nordstrom Rack. The average sale price is $17 for used condition, sell-through rate of almost 7%. And there's a lot of items selling for under $15 mixed in here. Got a dress here that went for $36, an eyelet top that went for $30. I do want to point out these keywords real quick. Y2K, baby doll, those are huge right now, as well as the aesthetic keyword coquette. Most of these are not doing too hot. Got another dress here that went for $30 that is an older style, another baby doll silhouette. Keywords of preppy and 90s. Overall, source with caution. And coming in at number 20 is New Balance. Now for used condition, the average sale price is almost $44, a sell-through rate of 22%. Boring shoes have to be one of the most underrated categories, and people pay really good money for these. Got a men's pair here that went for almost $80. Another pair of men's shoes, used condition, $100. We've got 37, 30, 56. Another pair here that went for $100. 60, 45. A brand to have on your BOLO list if you don't already. So what do you think? Are ThredUp's rising stars really the next big thing? Or are they just trending for now? And if you want to see which keywords can help you make more money, even on low value brands, then stick around because up next for you, I've got the 10 aesthetic based keywords that every clothing reseller needs to know about. Click here and I'll see you there.